we went through hell, not just as momentum stockholders, but especially as Tesla stockholders. Because you know what happened? We had a very bad time when these earnings came up. Elon was in a bad mood, but the entire market was a little shaky. That's why I went and reduced my holdings very significantly before earnings, and that was actually a good call. The reason was not that I was specifically predicting this crazy drop that we actually experienced, but that I saw absolutely little chance that this stock goes up. I saw basically all indications against Tesla on a very tactical level on that infamous July 22nd, 2026, not too long ago. And you know what happened? The stock dropped. I predicted a 2% drop. It became much, much worse. The reason I really reduced my tactical holdings in Tesla was because I did not see any chance that this thing goes up, at least no significant chance. And from there, it was just going downhill even more to this very infamous now July 29th when we hit the rock bottom 300. And no one knew if it gets worse or not. When you're in the heat of the moment, you never know what's going on. And that was definitely not just Tesla, that was the entire momentum trade led by famous, now infamous Leopold Aschenbrenner and his demise at the hands of Ken Griffin. And you know what happened? He had all these AI stocks. He had Micron, he had SanDisk, he had SK Hynix, he had Nebius, and all of them stocks I like a lot, especially Micron. Also, Nebius, great. But he got leveraged in his hedge fund. There was a conspiracy. I'm pretty sure it was a conspiracy, and they destroyed him. King Griffin and Citadel took over his fund at a 10% discount at the bottom, and they made like 30-40% in 2 weeks. So a few $1 billion. Good for them. It pays off to be a shark on Wall Street. But back to Tesla, that was why Tesla got so hammered. And of course, at the rock bottom, when the world lost faith in AI and Tesla, July 29th, I maintained my bearish, short term bearish stance. Nothing changed in that stock. Long term, you know that I was extremely bullish. I am extremely bullish, and I maintained my bullishness long term. But tactically, there was just nothing to gain here. Then, when we saw the recovery, when we saw Leopold Aschenbrenner being cleaned out the market, when we saw Kospi and Korea stabilizing and all the momentum stocks roaring back, now with Micron back to 970, wherever it is right now, 971. We saw, of course, Amazon, and we saw Microsoft killing earnings, and even Meta, who got destroyed at earnings, came back very nicely. That is when I said, I am back into Tesla at 325 roughly. And I am fully back on Tesla now. And why is that? Because when you take a step back, you know, here at Pioneer Lands, we are looking at different stocks. Not too many. We have a little universe, not too large. Nvidia, Micron, Tesla, SpaceX, a little AMD here and there, Robinhood, MicroStrategy. These are the stocks we are looking at. So we have a comparison and can decide what is actually going on. What is the best investment? I got very bullish also on SpaceX, as you know, when it was down at 108, and I played that very nicely. I told everyone, here's the time. SpaceX very briefly was my largest holding, but now I'm fully back into Tesla. Still have SpaceX. I think SpaceX is doing well. But let's take a step back and look at Tesla long term to understand where we are at here. And we'll get into some details in a second. But here's the long term chart. You all remember, if you're long term holders, I remember very well talking to JP Morgan, to the private wealth team back in San Francisco in end of 2019. I told them Tesla is the most undervalued stock on Wall Street right now. These people thought I have lost my marbles. They didn't say it, but I could see it behind their eyes. Their brains were saying, oh, Joe went crazy. But guess what happened next? You all know what happened next. Tesla went from back then roughly $20 to 400. That's exactly what happened in a very to 264, sorry, in a very short period of time, and then to whatever that was here, 407 at the end of 2021. So we have gone a little bit sideways, not totally sideways, but you see that the market is actually recognizing when you zoom out. And I want today to zoom out a little bit. When you zoom out, you see that the market actually sees what's going on. Sure, we have this little exuberant peaks here in after the election of Trump in December 27th. I remember that day too. Well, I remember actually December 17th, not 27th, because I lost a lot of money when the Fed did stupid things. December 17th, 2024. Remember where I was in a parking lot in Texas. But anyway, the stock went to 431, right? And then we had a bad time in the first quarter of 2025. Not this year, but 2025. This really hit me. I had all-time highs also in the portfolio in December 2024, and then it really hit me hard because I was too bullish. Now this year and last year, December, Christmas, the same thing kind of happened, but this time I was very well prepared and played it perfectly, as you know. The first quarter of this year, I knew it's very bullish, but there's no catalyst, and I was preparing for Tesla going down, and I played it very well. Then in Q2, I became too bullish. I became too confident and actually got creamed a little bit. I lost some money from my peaks, significant money from my peaks, even though I made so much money at the peaks, it was fine. But the June was a very bad month for me. July, I was a little out of the market, as you know, because we are transitioning to Pioneer Reserve. Long story. I hate that we are so delayed with this stuff, but we're transitioning into an institutional vehicle. And the question is now, are we back on? And I do think when you zoom out and you go to 6 months, look at this. Okay, we went sideways, then we went up in Q2, but it was a head fake. We went down, then we had this drop, and now we are nicely coming back to this 360, 370 area. And I think there's no holding back for Tesla going to 370 again, which is here before the drop. This is a very tactical view that I have, where I have high confidence. And that's this high confidence, these little high confidence phases, when you play a little bit with short options and a little bit leverage here and there, you can make a lot of money when you're right. The stock doesn't need to go to 490 for me to make money. I just need to be right and have high confidence in me being right. These are the two conditions. And right now, it's a little bit of a Goldilocks moment for me. I think 370, it's very hard to see how we don't go back there. Okay, so that's a little bit of a chart analysis combined with the history of Tesla. Of course, I have other reasons to believe things are going well. Here's, for example, a nice chart that Alexander Mertz put up. Look at this. This is the institutional ownership of Tesla. And what you saw here, I think that was S&P or something. But here, what you saw is in the beginning of this year, we actually went down a little bit. Retail, this is basically institutional ownership versus retail. It's not versus retail, kind of implicitly versus retail. But you saw that very recently, institutional ownership of Tesla went significantly up. Why is that? I tell you why. Because institutional investors who are sophisticated, who probably watch Pioneer Lands to get better models, but they see that Tesla right now is very undervalued, okay? They see that we made tremendous progress since December, but the stock is down from 490 to 340, despite massive infrastructure progress on robotaxi and cybercab, despite Optimus being in full swing. In case you didn't notice, because we're building out the Optimus factory, a very large factory for millions of these robots, and they're just being built out, so we will be done end of next year. Why would Tesla need millions of robots in manufacturing capability by the end of next year if they wouldn't manufacture the robots? Very similar to the cybercab question. Why is Tesla building out cybercab like crazy? Not just the manufacturing, but the actual cybercab. Why are they building it out like crazy if they can't deliver it. And I posted this today just to round it up a little bit. Here. That's what I posted today. Many people are saying Tesla has failed. That is the sentiment right now with many people because it now mass produces cybercaps. In my estimate, close to 2,000 per month. In September, we are going to hit 2,000 per month, but doesn't deploy them. That's the criticism. Therefore, the discerning investor, which is you and me, should ask himself which of the following is more likely. Here's my question. Which is more likely? That Tesla aggressively ramps cybercap production because it's too dumb to understand that it can't use those cybercaps? Or is it more likely that critics are too dumb to understand that Tesla is unlikely to be too dumb to understand its own technology? I hope that wasn't too complicated. But what I'm saying is, if Tesla scales cybercap, and they do, isn't it more likely that they actually know what they want to do? Look at this. This is cybercap in Chicago. Okay, cybercap is now in Chicago. Why is that? You have here cybercap in Dallas. 3 of them in 5 minutes. Must be getting close to commercial launch August 11th by Chemist. Asking Joe Techmeyer. Here's Joe Techmeyer, of course, the most reliable. Look at this. Is this a lot of cybercaps at Austin Gigafactory? Yes, it's a lot of cyber. I counted them roughly 50 in a batch. They happen all the time. Here 50, there 50. That adds up to these 2,000 run rate, in my opinion, in September. And so something is going on here from Optimus to Cybercap, but Cybercap much more pragmatically. You also see, by the way, these batches here. You see the batches, the signs. So I maintain my bullish stance. I put a 90% plus probability that by end of this year, we have 10,000 cybercaps in the wild. I am more cautious about deployment. I'm saying a 50% chance that they are actually deployed over 10,000 cybercaps by end of the year. I mean, deployed in commercial operation. Maybe 40%, between 40 and 50%. So maybe more likely than not that we won't see 10,000 commercially deployed cybercaps by end of the year, but over 90% that we have 10,000 cybercaps by the end of the year not deployed. And if that is the case, what do you think happens next? And that is exactly why this year is an important additional indication for what's going on, that institutions are loading up Tesla shares. And that increase, by the way, is non-trivial. It went from 1.8 million to roughly 2.2 million. Okay, that's a very significant increase of 20%, 25%, or 20% more Tesla shares in institutional ownership. All of these are indications that Tesla is in very, very good shape, in much better shape than everyone seems to believe right now. The sentiment is horrible, and that's what I like about it. I like horrible sentiment. Look at Nebius, look at the neoclouds. They rose like crazy again. Here Nebius up, for example, on Friday, 8% after going up like crazy again. Look at this crazy chart here. Look at a 1-month chart. This is absolutely nuts, Nebius, for example, right? Here is the deep end, here's the bottom, Aschenbrenner disaster, 148. Now it's at 277. I don't even know how much up that is. That is like, that's 80% up since 2 weeks. So you see this crazy run up. Of course, I had very good news, CoreWeave and so on. But what we have to understand, we have to be a little contrarian here. Do I chase Nebius? Not right now. We're doing a little more analysis. I'm very bullish on the neoclouds, but when stocks run up like this, it's always not the greatest time to double down because the huge transformational run up has already happened with these things, right? The surprise thing here when they were at 100. So they have still upsides in my opinion. But what I like about Tesla is everything is going well. They're ramping everything up, but no one likes them right now. And this can only be a question of time before the repricing begins. And not repricing in the sense that we are going to 600 or 1,000, but all-time highs. All-time highs. Just take a step back and think about it. All-time highs for Tesla would be highly appropriate. And I would be extremely surprised if we do not see all-time highs again this year. Because the market is not that dumb. It's not that irrational. When Trump won, we priced at 430. Last year in December, we priced it at 490. With we, I mean the world. Now we are at 342. Even though everything about Tesla is better, we know that the cars are not in trouble anymore. They're growing very nicely, the core automotive business. We know energy is like the best business in the freaking world. We know everyone wants Tesla mega packs and whatever, mega blocks and whatever they produce on the battery side. And we know robo-taxis are inevitable, even if the ramp is slower than expected. So you have to buy when others cry. That is my improvised Warren Buffett quote. It's not a Warren Buffett quote, it's a Joe quote. When they cry, I buy. So that is just my quick take on this Sunday, why Tesla is back to be number one for me. I'm playing SpaceX, but we have to also understand SpaceX is a little high here. And that is a great, I want to close this little speech here with my comment. What is more likely, SpaceX at all-time highs end of the year or Tesla at all-time highs end of the year? And the answer is crystal clear. For SpaceX to get back to all-time highs, crazy things have to happen. Because SpaceX is very highly valued. SpaceX is a much weaker company than Tesla, in my opinion, right now. It's a lot of fantasy, don't get me wrong, and I understand why, and they have great compute deals coming up and all these amazing things. But these compute deals have other issues, right? It's a little bit the Micron paradigm with SpaceX. They will get to 100 billion EBIT or something short term, in my opinion, but then they hit a wall. Even Elon says terrestrial compute build out will hit a complete wall. So they will be getting potentially the Micron treatment, having 20 times the earnings of Tesla, but not getting anywhere close the price earnings ratio, because the reason SpaceX will have these massive earnings is terrestrial compute, and everyone knows that it will hit a total wall. And I'm totally not buying 10 gigawatts by end of next year. It's totally not happening because they can't, because they have an energy access problem like everyone else. And if we get to 5 gigawatts end of next year, that would be amazing. But where does it go the year after? It goes potentially nowhere, because the friction and the resistance will just increase through the roof. And then they can only grow when they do AI satellites, which they will, in my opinion, faster than people think, and will be enormous, but there will be a gap and they will get punished for it. So Tesla, on the other side, is just in a better spot, if you ask me, right? Yes, terrestrial compute is massively more money than robotaxi, much quicker. But a robotaxi, once it begins, has an enormously, infinitely larger TAM in a very scalable and rapid way than terrestrial compute build out that gets punished by policymakers on all kinds of people, political people, and so it can't really happen. So cybercab and robotaxi are a beautiful business. We should never forget that. Once this beast starts rolling, the cyber beast, there is no stopping it. And even the dumbest analyst will understand very quickly this goes to 1 million robo-taxis, then it goes to 10 million. And once it's at 10 million, they will understand it goes to 100 million. And then you're talking a lot of business here. And that is why Tesla will have a much more beautiful growth story than terrestrial compute is for SpaceX. Terrestrial compute is a nice little initial booster, but it hits the wall very quickly. SpaceX's mega robotaxi, mega humanoid robot thing are the AI satellites, but they will not be in service until 2028. So, for all of these reasons, I like Tesla, and I think Tesla is back in my graces. Especially short term, especially here. If Tesla runs up very quickly to 420 or something, Yeah, I would be skeptical again short term because there will be a lag and all the theater we know and we have to wait until December, whatever. But at 340, are you kidding me? It's a buy. Let's go to the comments and see what you guys think. Let's see on this beautiful Sunday what everyone is thinking. Today we were not live, by the way, because I'm working on the on the weekly brief in Pioneerlands. Go to pioneerlands.org. We have tremendous updates coming, and this time they are actually coming. They will come tomorrow. We will have the full new weekly brief up. It will be heavily revamped, and we invest enormously into editorial quality, by the way. We will have politics. We will have NVIDIA's deal coming up tomorrow. Our coverage, what NVIDIA does there, why it's so powerful for SpaceX and the entire AI arena in the weekly brief. We will cover SpaceX also. They have some very interesting things happening there. We have the official stock ticker updates for Tesla, by the way, in our investment research segment. So this is all in the weekly brief. You definitely have to watch this tomorrow. It will come tomorrow. Robert says, hi. I couldn't have said it better than Robert. Hi. Hi, everyone. BC Jones, Joe, are you there? I was not there. I was late, but now I'm here. Where's Joe? Says Robert. I agree. Where's Joe? But I'm here now. Hello, everyone. Detroit. Again, I couldn't have said it better. Evening from Ireland. Beautiful Ireland. Pot X1M. Greetings back to Ireland. Hi, Joe. Greetings from Denmark. Hey, Denmark. I have to be cautious when I talk to Danes because I always speak Swedish, which is very offensive for Danes. Rishikash, hello from Phoenix, Arizona. Hopefully I see many cybercaps here soon. Well, I hope, Rishi, you have some cybercaps there. Tell us more if you see any on the roads. Detroit says, anyone excited about the Terrafab groundbreaking in Grimes County? Yes, I reported on this in the last weekly brief on Pioneerlands last week. This is huge. Of course, Terrafab is an enormous, crazy endeavor, and it will take like 3-4 years before we see results. But when do you think robotaxis will start scaling ATM? I think we have to be a little cautious, and who knows what this actually... as I said, there are two trajectories here that we have to watch. One is the deployment of cybercabs into these parking lots and the production of cybercab. That is what I'm watching. The actual deployment doesn't really matter, in my opinion, because it will happen anyway. I think they're just working through all kinds of things that we can't even imagine. And instead of watching deployment, if you're smart, if you want to see what happens before it happens, watch how many cybercabs are being produced, watch how many people are being hired, watch about how many infrastructure pieces are being put together, and watch in how many cities across the United States we see cybercabs popping up in parking lots, and then count them. And you will see we have dozens of cities very soon with dozens or hundreds of cybercabs in each city. And that will keep growing and growing and growing. And at some point we deploy them, but I don't even care when we deploy them. As long as all that stuff is growing, I know they have a plan. Falcon XLC. If Dems win next presidential election 2028, they would pursue endless investigations into Elon. I don't think so. So here, first of all, Falcon, we lived through the singularity. Worrying about the midterms, well, we can worry about the midterms, but I mean, not much is going to happen. The Dems are going to take the House. Are they going to take the Senate? Probably not, if you ask me. Probably not. Iran war is over. The sooner we can wrap the stupid Iran war up, the better Republicans have a chance of keeping the Senate. Then Dems get the House, fine. 2028 is very far away. No one even knows who the candidates are. The only real risk here is socialism. Let's see how this goes. But America is normally firmly in the hands of the oligarchs, including the Democratic Party. So a lot of this stuff is theater. Trump was a little bit an exception. I am pretty sure, look at Elon. He's not doing too much politics. He's clearly hedging his bets. Elon is not a dummy. He will actually start getting closer to the Democratic Party. He will hedge his bets. Everyone will get reasonable. He will help the Republicans a little bit. But the Democrats also probably learned their lesson to not be too crazy, in my opinion. Who knows? We will see. We will observe it. I do not think 2028 will be as dramatic as 2024. 2024 was, I mean, that was maximum drama. That was the fault of the Democrats, in my opinion. And I think they have learned their lesson potentially, and they won't go that crazy anymore. And Elon will hedge his bets. They need SpaceX. Everyone needs SpaceX. America cannot survive without SpaceX, in my opinion, and the Democrats know that. So I'm not too concerned about this political stuff, but you're right that we have to watch it. Um, Cappuccino Steve. Guys, if robotaxi business is the only driver for upwards movement, I'm really concerned about our investment. We have no clue when FSD will be good enough to really scale robotaxi. Well, Cappuccino Steve, we have to be rational about it. We had very high expectations. We were disappointed. I get it. But when you take a step back, there are tons of indicators here that from a pure business perspective, this is actually going pretty well, the rollout. And look at the institutional ownership. So I think we're fine. I mean, I'm not happy with the stock performance, obviously, but now down here, I'm bullish. Susan Ling is back. Hello, everyone. Hi, Susan. Cappuccino, car sales won't hold stock price. Of course not, but it's a nice little add-on. FSC better than most idiotic drivers out there. Luciano is correct. Okay, agreed. Tesla is further along than December 25 and stock was close to 500, but the stock has been re-rated down because the scaling is much slower than what we projected in December 25. Well, Michael, I wouldn't say it was re-rated down. It's just postponed. It's stretched. It's like, well, we are late. But here's the question. What are the odds that in December 26, on a head-to-head comparison to December 25, the market doesn't decide that Tesla is much further along than 25? High. Tesla is ramping because of wishful thinking. That is extremely unlikely. That the entire executive team is prone to wishful thinking. I think the opposite is true. Different development phases and a failed synchrotron for the 13.5 nanometer EUV lithography will be on ASML Tech, and to manufacture chips that are smaller than. I don't know if that's true, if they can pull that off. It's not even necessary. This would be very difficult. I do not think, you know my opinion. I think Tesla and SpaceX and Elon are good in certain types of technologies. They are not good at frontier technologies, meaning this kind of stuff. They are not going to go into EUVs, lithography. No one is going to. They are definitely not going to do that. They are not going to compete on the smallest high-tech R&D frontier. That's not Elon's strength. Elon's strength is to do vertical integration of things that are not that hard individually. He doesn't want to go into memory and all this stuff. This is too crazy. And it's not his track record, by the way. He does different things. So. Here, I hear this so often. Here's Paul saying also, I use FSD all the time, and there's never been a close call. Yeah, I hear this all the time. Everyone says it's very good. For the high 400s to be remained, there would have to be robotaxis and cybercabs in the thousands deployed by now. I disagree, Michael. Not by now. It just goes there when the time is right. I mean, here, Volition, no, last time I used FSD, I don't have a Tesla right now. I don't even have a car right now because I'm like, I don't need one right now. But last time I had one was in 2024 and 5 in January. No, in, yeah, 2025 in January. I wasn't too happy with FSD back then, but I'm also like, I'm not a very techie user, actually. I'm lazy. I'm like making mistakes, gave me strikes and stuff like that. So it's a long time ago. Like Waymo still has major issues 7 years in. That is true. But I think Waymo also has very crappy tech. Think about this LiDAR situation. It's so dumb. If you have multiple sensors, how is the neural net even going to work? This is just not very smart what they did. FSD in your Tesla Model Y is much different than FSD in the Robotaxi Cybercab because of pick up and drop off. Yes, I'm not saying it's soft. Obviously, it's not soft. Palantir is still good to buy. Palantir is very high at 170, I think. Seems like Robotaxi is much simpler than FSD. I wouldn't say it's simpler. You still have to have the drop-off stuff. 10K supervised would interfere with merger evaluations. No way this is another like problem. My strategy with the merger is I really doubt that there's too much manipulation going on for many reasons. So the way I approach it, who knows if this is smart or not, but the way I approach it is I view SpaceX and Tesla as two separate companies. I assess them separately. And for me, the merger does not play into my assessment right now because the attempt to manipulate these prices would be highly illegal, extremely complicated, very prone to errors on their side. And I think Elon is smart enough to not really do that. That's what I would say. Merger next year, almost 100%, sure, but that's not for me the question. I am very high. I put very high odds on the merger, but I put very low odds that there is some, strategic manipulation of stock prices or of the business performance. I'm a Tesla investor, but I've taken away more over 250 times, and it is a perfect experience. Sure, Michael, well, some people say it's not perfect, but it's fine. But as a business, it just sucks. They cannot deploy these things, and these things are also too expensive. So they're bad and too expensive. I think they're good in delivering good experience by mostly doing a lot of manual work there, but I don't take it seriously as a business. SpaceX and Tesla merger news comes out and Tesla goes up, isn't it better to sell Tesla with premium attached and buy falling SpaceX rather than waiting out the actual merge with downside? 100%. That's what I think. I think the merger is overrated. I would assess these stocks separately. I think Tesla is much more attractive than SpaceX at these prices. I do think SpaceX is still attractive, by the way. I'm pretty sure 135 is a ceiling and a floor at the same time. It's a little bit pinned in that 135 to maybe 150 area and will get more selling pressure with more unlocks August 20th. I think SpaceX will have a very hard time going above 150 or significantly above 135. But it's also unlikely to fall much under 135 because there's a lot of interest and they have all these deals coming in. So I think SpaceX is in a good situation if you want to sell puts. That's what I think. Richie Cash, Arizona says, I keep adding to my core position. I'm interested in your guess as to when the inflection point happens. I like these discount prices. However, what's your guess to when we reach all-time highs? I always, when I look at things, it's like SpaceX. Why did I make money with SpaceX? Because I waited until I had certainty. I want certainty. I don't care what certainty. Sometimes certainty just means it's just not going to drop from here much. Of course, always conditional on market not doing crazy things. And so I can't tell you, I'm pretty sure it reaches all-time highs this year. I'm pretty sure about that. When does it reach them? I don't know. Will it go far beyond all-time highs? That would require massive cybercap deployments. Will that happen this year? I don't know. But do I have high short-term confidence we go to 370 plus? Yes, I do. Do I have high midterm confidence we go to 490 this year? Yes, I absolutely do. Can I tell you if 490 happens in September, October, or only in December? No, I don't know. That's what I don't know. So what I do is right now, I'm short putting this whole thing cautiously towards 370. If we reach 370, I'm getting a little more cautious if nothing happens. Tesla leadership explicitly stated that FSD version 15 is a prerequisite for the robotaxi service. Did they? I'm not sure that they did that. Even if, version 15 is coming in like 2 or 3 months. People asking when Tesla stock will reach all-time highs again are amateurish questions. Well, you can always ask the question and speculate a little bit. Tesla still needs significantly more training miles logged specifically on this two-seat setup. Yeah, but what does significantly more training mean? V15 is a stalling tactic. If merger isn't complete, it will be version 15. Not sure. I'm waiting for all SpaceX shares to unlock before I buy. I am into SpaceX. I have my SpaceX position now. Let's see what happens. And I do think I have a clear, we will have another video on SpaceX, but I have a very clear conviction that after this unlock, that under 135, there's not much selling regardless of unlock. It's clear that the unlocks are conditional on price now. That is what's very clear and was much more stable than I thought. And I do not think that we will drop for SpaceX. But I do think these additional unlocks will create more and more exponential resistance to the upside. That's what I think. 133. And here we hit the resistance. Okay, so that is SpaceX. No way I'm buying stocks other than gold, silver, miners right now. Well, I think being cautious on stocks is okay. We have the fear and greed index going to 65 again, or at 65 again, so we're getting a little greedy. And we should understand there are serious macro risks. But if you do it weekly, week by week, and you have a keen eye, or you're super long term, I think you're fine. What about the Flying Roadster? I saw rumors that the Flying Roadster is coming like in 2 weeks. I have no idea. I've given up on the Roadster speculation. Do we have Flying Roadster speculation things here? Let's see. Tesla Roadster. I mean, there's speculation, but I doubt that they will just, they probably would invite people so we get some. The wait is almost over. Says who? So stupid. Here, August 15th, so that was yesterday, reportedly planning to demo a Flying Roadster. Well, reportedly, I don't understand. Yeah, I'm not betting on the Roadster. Do you think Rock would overtake Anthropic in 3 months? If not, when would that unlock more dollars in the Neo Cloud business? Well, I think on the frontier model side, when I look at the trajectory, I think it is kind of likely that SpaceX will take the global lead this year. That does not mean in the harness final product level and all benchmarks, but it's more likely than not they effectively take the crown by end of this year, the way it looks like. Now, would that unlock major dollars for their Neo Cloud business or for their, not Neo Cloud business, for their enterprise AI business? That is a very complicated question. If in doubt, I would say yes. I think they can surprise to the upside. Anthropic's like supposedly has $100 billion run rate now. I don't know if that's true, but I heard it, I think, in the Moonshots podcast and All In, which is pretty surprising. So by end of the year, Anthropic will have $100 billion annual run rate, which is pretty insane, right? That's half the size of Microsoft. And by end of next year, they would be the biggest software company in the world. If this continues even half, that's pretty surprising. And so the question is, can Grok catch up? If it would surpass Anthropic in quality, which they will, in my opinion, very soon. Grokbot looks amazing, by the way. So yeah, potentially very bullish. I mean, that's why SpaceX is a very interesting stock. Pioneer Land's still not accepting my money out of Austria. Are you talking about the Pioneer bonds, Wolves, now, or are you talking about membership? Pioneer bonds should be. This is such a delay, such a stupid administrative effort that we have to go through. But I mean, we are technically there. I don't know why it's always another week delayed. So let me know, Wolves, now if you mean Pioneer bonds or if you mean just membership, because membership shouldn't be a problem. Thanks for the show, says Miller Botanicals. Nice name, Miller Botanicals. When do you think cybercaps will deploy in Puerto Vallarta? What the hell is Puerto Vallarta? Should I Google this? That's such a specific question. Do you think people know that place? Oh, it's in Mexico. I have no idea. Mexico is not on the here we have Kasim Garipoglu from Turkey. Hello to Turkey. Great to have Turkey on board too. Hello, Kasim. Jay Warren, do you still believe there's all at once moment within the next 2 years? Yes. What signs do you see point against the 5-year city by city? I think the main point, Jay Warren, is China. They can't afford that. I think in 4 years, China will be all out on FSD. There's just no doubt about it, in my opinion, and they just don't have time. I think Tesla needs to get to multiple millions of cybercaps rolled out by 2030 and 31. Multiple millions, for sure. I would definitely bet on that. So that means we need to see a major rollout in 2027, and we will. I think we hit 100,000 next year. 50 to 200,000. That's what I'm betting. Let's say 50 to 100,000. I have to look at our bull case. It's over 100,000. But October 3rd is my estimated delivery date for my Model YL. Greetings from Oklahoma. I'm not buying NAV. I'm buying the FSD. Stumpy from Oklahoma. Exactly. That's a cool sentence, by the way. I'm not buying an EV. I'm buying the FSD. I think Stumpy from Oklahoma is not the only one. See, we have Turkey on board, we have Denmark on board, we have Oklahoma on board. Of course, we have our Californian friends on board, and we have Arizona on board here. China Hill AOC candidate could be for the Democrats 2028, but she's trying to backpedal on from far left. Well, there was a very good, I don't know who was that, but I'm pretty sure AOC is not far left. I think AOC is clearly just a savvy, completely opportunistic politician. She's just your usual complete fraud. And that makes her dangerous. She's dangerous. She could win. I mean, it really depends. I mean, she could win the Democratic primary. I think she's well positioned. She has now signaled to the establishment of the Democrats that she's willing to do whatever it takes. She can backpedal any position. These are the requirements to, be in the race. Is there a chance Robotaxi Cybercab isn't solved or takes another year or two? No. I would go out and say no. I would, go out and say there is no chance that Robotaxi is not solved in the sense of tens of thousands deployed within the next 12 months, meaning by August 16th, 2027. There's just no chance. In my opinion, my humble opinion. Steve says, appreciate your insights, Joe. They are hard earned by much hard work and finding the alpha opportunities. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Everyone I talk to IRL says we need self-driving because the drivers are so awful. That's for sure. China Shill. That's a great name, by the way. China Shill 66. Tesla used to be the cool alternative futuristic stock. The AI wave has given investors many such other shiny cash product producing stocks. What if the market just doesn't care by the time we see profits? Good point. Well, we have Optimus for the shininess coming up, and we have Terafab coming up, and we have the merger coming up. So we have shiny objects for Tesla. So I think whatever cash comes in gets the Tesla premium, but the cash needs to be coming in. It will never be in a Micron position, not even in an NVIDIA position. Why Alexandra Merz is so certain that Tesla will merge in the near future, I don't know. You have to ask her. But I am also certain that Tesla will merge in the next year. Or I wouldn't put a time stamp on it. I'm 99% sure they will merge. There's no doubt about that. The timing, I'm less certain. I'm pretty sure it happens in 2027. I am skeptical on the short term because it's too complicated, too risky. I understand data centers in space, says Matt uh, Vogue. But do we really need a return on investment by going to the moon and mining asteroids? I think not. No, we don't need that, Matt. Totally unnecessary. The moon is not necessary. Mining asteroids, absolutely not necessary. The moon is necessary to take SpaceX from $1,000 to $10,000 or something like that. But we get to $1,000 way before the moon. The moon is required, not asteroid mining. That's cuckoo. Asteroid mining is cuckoo for now, but moon mining is definitely possible in the next 15 years, maybe 20 years. And the perspective of moon mining will be very important because otherwise, how do you scale these satellites? It's just an enormous game changer when you think about it. The moon mining idea is actually smart. Mars is not smart. Asteroid mining is not smart. It's just never going to happen. It doesn't matter at all for us. But the moon will matter. This is like a weekly JF with your manager when you can ask questions and get professional answers. The way you provide us with experience for free is highly appreciated. Thanks, Simon. I really appreciate it. Aspuras. When six-seater Model Y in Europe, I don't know, actually. I don't think that will take too long. I think it's coming. Hit the like button. Yes, please. What do we have here? FSD version 15 features a redesigned video ingestion pipeline that minimizes compression data loss, delivering higher visual fidelity to the network for long-range perception and bad weather navigation, and also utilizing AI 5, by the way. I think that's why it's being held up. What are your thoughts on the institutions accumulating shares recently? I'm very bullish. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. The institutions are not dumb, even though they are sometimes a little dumb. But in average, they have their analysts, they're doing their work, they're seeing, well, this is a pretty good bet. Matt Vogue, I don't know if it's garbage that they are accumulating. I think there are some statistics here showing that this is actually the case. They're not accumulating, they're just thinking probably it's cheap and they're buying it. Alexander right about announcement next 18 hours? Well, we will see. Of course, I don't think so, but we will see. We don't have to wait long for that. By the way, AI5, what's the status on AI5? AI5 might be actually very important, more important than version 15. Version 15 is easy, AI5 is not easy. AI5, it's not getting me Tesla. AI5 should come out also very soon and can then be built into. So we have tape out July. When is this happening? No one knows. How long is it from tape out to production? 2027. So we can't wait for that. Yeah. We don't know too much. So it seems to be 2027. So we can't wait for that. Politically incorrect says, Joe, greetings from Awatucky, Phoenix, Arizona. When do you start your live shows on weekends? Do you send alerts ahead of time? I keep missing the start. Well, I'm trying to keep it consistent. We are kind of ramping up our editorial effectiveness for Pioneer Lands. You will see it with the next weekly brief that's starting to come out next, like tomorrow. It's a lot of work to fine-tune the Pioneer Media, little micro empire here with you guys. but we are making good progress. And I just want to make sure, we are professionalizing the operation. And part of that will be that we schedule the live shows in advance. So you can go on YouTube, you see it, you can subscribe and get the alerts. Because right now it's a little too spontaneous, but it's just not easy yet because I'm doing most of that still alone. We are hiring editors right now to make it a little more efficient because I'm very busy with Pioneer Bonds and all kinds of trading things and institutional capital and stuff like that. And we are professionalizing this. So once this is done, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we will be more reliable politically incorrect. So you will be on the YouTube channel and on pioneerlands.org. We have a little bar on the homepage that tells you when the next live show is. But ideally, just, it will be scheduled on YouTube and you can just click the bell. Waymo is a science project, not a scalable business. Exactly, Rishikesh. Therefore, comments about one's experience writing one is irrelevant. Bonds. Wolves, now, are you in touch with Sari? And here I will send Sari right now a signal message just to make sure we have you. You can also, by the way, you could tell us your first name so we can match you, because I don't know. For the Pioneer Bonds in Austria. But I will forward this to the team. Roads such as a distraction? Yes. If you notice that a large number of influencers have all started saying they would merge with no premium all at once, almost like being coordinated. Who knows? I don't know what people are doing. I'm not getting bribed yet. If anyone wants to bribe me, let me know. But I might be hard to bribe. October, if the Roadster can actually fly, do you need a pilot's license to operate it? That's a good question. Probably not. I mean, it's just a mini flight. It's not real flight. Here, Patty the Irishman says, I don't think AUC could possibly win the presidency. She falls into the same bracket as Kamala. Big marketing push, but no actual substance. Well, who knows? So Patty, I would disagree. I think AOC is massively more skilled than Kamala. Not because AOC is skilled, but because Kamala was the worst joke I've ever seen. I couldn't fathom it. I think AOC is a totally different level than Kamala. I think AOC is like a C and Kamala is a big fat F. AOC is a C. I think she's a C. And she could be developed into a B, maybe. I'm not talking about quality, I mean, just as a politician, okay? Just as someone you put on camera. We have to be a little objective here. I'm not talking about her actually doing anything useful, but the whole theory is people like her who are total little frauds maybe are not the worst politicians or presidents because they will be then influenced by whoever handles the president, which is of course not ideal. Ideally, you would have a president who has some kind of stuff going on in their brain, but better that than either some ideological nut job or someone like Kamala who's so incompetent that you can't even control her because she can't execute. That's very scary. We are burning our planet because we are too lazy to think ourselves. Yes. What's going on with Diogenes? Diogenes seems to have a little trolling problem. Maybe we should ban him. But it's so complicated. We need moderators. Maybe I can make it happen. Let's see. So complicated. Q1 call. Elon Musk said safety validation was the limiting factor for expanding the robotaxi network, and that Tesla was holding back the rollout of Cybercab until the FSD 15 software arrives. Did he say that? No. I remember that he said it's not necessary to do that, actually, which is interesting. Let me see. I just want to check something out. How do I do this live? Here is my live room. I should just go here and do the comments. That's much better. Nice. Here we are. I should just always do this. And Diogenes is gone. Isn't that great? We can get rid of the trolls here. Here's another troll. Oh, now I'm on a troll roll. Very nice. We can terminate all the trolls. Isn't that nice? Send cheers for 1000 jewels. What does that even mean? So here, yeah, the Grim Reaper has been Grim Reaped, in case you wonder. Now I'm on a roll here. I'm my own moderator. Now I can make some of you guys moderators, but only the good ones. Only the proven ones can be moderators. Grim is gone. Grim has met his Grim Reaper. That's very nice. We can just terminate the trolls. I like this. Here, exactly. Should I just make some of you the moderators? But you have to behave. Don't destroy everyone. You just also Grim Reaper says this, we are burning our planet. He was like a little delusional. It's very sad. You think version 15 requires AI5, and that is why things are held up. That's interesting. Yeah, no, when I look at AI5, it's pretty clear that it's coming in 2027. Yeah, Grim has been removed, Ted Link's channel. The only Tesla I have left is 2000 leaps. 2000 leaps or 20 leaps? 2000 would be a lot. Joe, your thoughts on long-term limit orders on SpaceX in the high 120s? You mean like short puts or long-term limit orders? I mean, you can't go wrong on that, but I'm like, this would be too speculative for me. I mean, it's not bad, but I don't think we are going back there unless we have a crash in the market. The only Tesla I have left is December 2027 leaps. Once it gets to 450, I'm all out. Well, maybe, but when you get there, maybe you are happy. Very funny. Tesla manufacturing is on point and on schedule. FSD is behind, piling up. Sure. Ooh, what is wrong with Grim? Why is Grim still here? We have to remove him. Oh, he's still showing up here. She's a communist, and I don't say that as a joke. I don't think she's a communist, Patrick. I think she pretends to be a communist, but I think she will just change her tune when she gets money or power. which doesn't mean she's not dangerous. Don't get me wrong. I just do not think she's a high conviction communist. I think she's an absolute opportunist. So yeah, she will create communism and kill us all if that gets her power, but she will also do the opposite if that's necessary to win. Did Vegas lawmakers reduce Tesla robotaxi fleet from 5,000 to 10, or is that fake news? I think that's fake news, but I didn't follow that one. Let's see. Let's see what the latest is. You mean not? You mean not Vegas? You mean the New Jersey people? The New Jersey people do something completely ridiculous. They're advancing a bill that would require driverless commercial vehicles to carry cameras plus 2 additional sensors. So that would be absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, Jersey is a little bit, has a little bit of a corruption problem. So maybe. Why is Grim Reaper? I hope all his comments are gone. He's like the worst troll ever. He's insulting all of you guys. Okay, he's done. Grim commenter is a Harris Walls voter. That's very mean of you to say, Michael, but maybe you're right. It sounds like it. Las Vegas did not reduce the 5,000. No. So the Jersey people, they are introducing this ridiculous bill. I don't know if it will win, but they're introducing this bill that would ban camera-only robotaxis, which is completely nuts. If you had to invest in 2 other Mag 7 stocks today, which one would you pick? I would pick NVIDIA, and I did pick NVIDIA. I am invested in NVIDIA. I think it's great. I think it's a much more value-driven stock than Tesla. I think it can only go up, but has less upside, obviously, than Tesla. And the second, yes, is Meta. But Meta, my conviction on Meta is much weaker than on Tesla or NVIDIA. I just like it on valuation. And I'm strategically bullish on Meta AI. I think Meta AI is the most underrated AI because I believe in people. I'm a little bit like a VC when it comes to that. I would bet on people, and the AI team on Meta is amazing because Jason Wang is a smart cookie. So make that Meta number 3, number 2 NVIDIA, number 1 Tesla. Waymo had safety drives for the first 2 years and just now has started to drive on highways after 8 years. Ugly, way too expensive. Exactly. I'm on a troll roll. Exactly. I have eliminated 2 trolls. We should have like a little game, like a counter. Troll heads on pikes. They're done. Grim got reaped. Isn't that nice? Big weak force. Johannes, here's my take. The problems with Robotaxi now can be that they are running it on an early version of version 15. I'm pretty sure that this is the cause. Version 3.7 doesn't have many of these issues. That's an interesting theory. You might be right. I should make some of you, I will just do it and see what happens. I will now make some of you moderators. How does it work? Boom. I will make some of you now moderators so you can also save us from these trolls. Let's see. Ooh, I got money from Michael. That's so nice of you, Michael. I also make you moderator, but not because I got money. This has nothing to do with it, because You did reliable. You helped us reliably. So a bunch of you are now, every communist pretends to be a communist. That's very meta. I don't, yeah, of course, every communist pretends. No, I wouldn't say that. What about if it's a crypto communist? Like, not a cryptocurrency communist, yeah? But what if there are communists who are spies? They don't admit to it. And the point is that there are definitely people who are pretending to be communists who are not really communists. Mm. Michael says Iran war will cost us the house if gas prices are still up. I agree. That wasn't very good. Poxy Frostbite says, I'm late, just got caught up on your analysis. My 10 to 1 Tesla SpaceX is feeling about right. I'm a little more SpaceX than 10 to 1. Waiting for a little more SpaceX sadness before I buy more. My IRA is tax shielded, so it's easy to make a move. That's very smart. My FSD has saved the life of one homeless person. Unhoused, I heard, is the politically correct term. So Ted Link's channel says my FSD has saved the life of one homeless person walking across a dark intersection at midnight in San Diego that I didn't even see until the car swerved. Also saved a rabbit last night. Wow, that's a lot of saved lives. Street cred 0. I was just thinking, did Michael D9MH give a moderation bribe? Probably. I think in a court of law, we would have a problem. Corruption problem. Where's street cred 0? Here, I have like a double. I don't see street cred 0. I want to make you also moderator. Oh, here. Street. I will prove it wasn't a bribe because street cred now also becomes a moderator. Boom. I hired at least 5 moderators now. Let's see how this goes. Alice Swami confirmed that Tesla is testing early builds of FSD version 15 within the commercial robotaxi fleet. Is that true, RK? Is that true, RK? Can you provide any evidence, or should I just research this quickly because that's interesting? Let's see. Version 15, is that actually happening? V15. Yeah, I think I remember. I remember something like that. Here. I remember that. So that's very interesting. This sounds like fake news. Is it fake news? Probably. Storyteller. Yeah, so that's very interesting. Yeah, so we have version 15. Smart, good moderator choice. Joe, thanks for all you do for us. Well, thank you guys, Smart AI Money, for being with us here on the journey of a lifetime. Not just of a lifetime, this is a crazy journey. We're in the middle of the singularity. We're watching Elon Musk, SpaceX, Tesla. We are watching Jensen. We are watching Micron, all these people. We are watching the Mac 7. These are some of the most tremendous companies ever created by man. And so this is going to be wild. That's why I'm working so hard on getting this whole editorial thing sorted out. And we're making good progress. RK says he emphasized that broad commercial expansion integration, integrating the dedicated CyberCab hardware, rely on completing version 15 core safety and neural network targets. But we are in the middle of that, it seems. Oh, we have another one here. My FSD saved a homeless person for me too, Washington DC. LJ, I wonder how many homeless persons are not walking on the face of the earth anymore because of you guys. If you already saved 2 of them with FSD, what did you do before? Well, maybe I asked too many questions here. But good that from now on they're safe. Less flat animals on the road. Exactly, Susan. You probably also saved some. Michael says in 5 years, not using a form of driving autonomy will be prohibitively expensive because insurance rates for self-drivers will be through the roof. Can we start a union? Exactly. It is true, hence my comment, yes. Can I act as an immoderator? Sure. To clarify, epoxy frostbite. If there are new certifications in new cities, but the certification might be ongoing, those cities could still be on later versions. Cities will be able to update. Yes. My concern is those homeless saves will become future Kamala voters. That's a very good point. Maybe FSD will push us into socialism because all the homeless people now survive. And then we have socialism, and then they take away FSD from us, and then they all die. Ironic. Isn't that ironic? You can never predict what technology actually does to politics. I don't think we want to save our boat people in the UK. Susan Ling, you can't make jokes like that. Maybe there's a special button on FSD where you can pick your, pick your saves. That would be something. You can tweet to Elon. Maybe that's a good invention. So many pick up and drop off problems that Dylan Loomis was talking about. I agreed with him that those have to be ironed out to allow ramping. Yeah, but FSD off from now on. I gave LJ some food for thought with this whole socialism situation. It's tricky. Okay, enough mean jokes. We are so mean, guys. We can't be so mean. We have to talk about stocks and money, all about people, homeless people, whatever. We should, it's always better to save people if you can. I know it sounds wrong, but you know what I mean. So that's the situation. We keep working. Believe me, guys, we are working very hard on our investment research team. This is coming together very nicely. We will now have a SpaceX model, Micron model, like a full financial model, like next generation financial model. And of course, Tesla, number one. We are just tweaking it a little bit for the final little touches, and these will be in the investment research section, and they will be on Pioneer Lands. And the Tesla model I'm considering making available for free for all the citizens, because we'll citizen, and then we will have Citizen Plus membership, which is a little more expensive to get all the downloads for all the financial models, because now we're actually investing money in getting them professionalized. But maybe the Tesla model we just give to all citizens. That should be table stakes. Okay, Martin Bakker asks, if you had to start a trade tomorrow, what would you do? I kind of like these questions. If you had to pick one more Mag 7, if you had to do a trade tomorrow, these are good questions. If you had to, so what do you mean? Like if nothing if nothing would be going on, I mean, I would do exactly what I do. That's the whole point, right? So right now, Tesla, I have core positions in Tesla, in NVIDIA, in Micron, and SpaceX. Some in Robinhood, some in MicroStrategy, but small. That's what I have. But to be honest, like my core portfolio is not even that interesting. My options trades are interesting. I'm pretty heavy back into Tesla. Short puts with a distance, some, naked puts mostly. Don't do that, by the way. I'm just telling you what I do, because that's where the money is. I have high conviction that Tesla will have a hard time dropping here too hard from here, and is much more likely to go up than down. But you have to always be cautious, right? You can't just, if you do short naked puts, be cautious. If you do short naked calls, that's even more dangerous in my opinion. Especially on Tesla and SpaceX or Micron. I'm also short put on Micron. All of these positions are much bigger than my core positions in terms of synthetic exposure. So I look at synthetic exposure, by the way, in absolute terms. So if I have, let's say, 10 contracts, I book that in my mind as 1,000 shares. That's not how it normally works. Normally, you multiply it with a delta, right? So if you have a delta of zero point 0.2 and you have 1,000 shares in 10 contracts, you multiply the 1,000 shares with zero point 0.2 and you say, I'm net long 200 Tesla shares. But I think that's very stupid and dangerous to do it this way. I'm doing the maximum perspective. If I have 10 short put option contracts, I assume I'm effectively long 1,000 Tesla shares on top. If you have 100 contracts, you can do the math. Then you're long 10,000 shares. So that's what I'm doing. I kind of have a diversified but synthetically leveraged, long position in Micron, not in Nvidia. Nvidia is just a core stock position, but Micron SpaceX, because I do believe after this unlock scenario that 135 is a pretty robust and reliable floor for now. And of course, there's a lot of upside here with all these things coming in. But if I had to bet on upside versus not downside, I think the not downside bet is much more robust. I'm much more confident SpaceX is not going to drop below 135 than I'm confident it goes above 150, let's say. Much more confident. So I'm trying to model that out. Or I'm not trying, I'm doing it. Street Cred Zero, mill blogger and YouTuber Ryan Macbeth calls the Navy the Department of the Boat People. Interesting. I have to look into that. Poxy Frostbite, there will be a Luddite party in the USA, guaranteed. Well, a Luddite party, or I wouldn't call it a Luddite party. You mean a Luddite voter segment. I think that we will have a job explosion as more menial work becomes financially viable. It might be someone monitoring 1,000 optimal spots. We will see. I'm not bullish on employment for now. Elon still hasn't said no about a merger, which tells me they are planning to do so. It's definitely happening. But it's definitely also not happening tomorrow, in my opinion. Please ask AI why initial Cybercab production follows a gradual S-curve. Exponential fleet scaling is tied directly to the architectural leap of FSD version 15. Yeah, but RK, we just heard that version 15 is live. Okay, it's live. The best trade is to short Tesla. I would disagree. I would definitely not short Tesla. Have you thought about inviting some of us to discuss in these great sessions? I've never done a discussion in a live session. I have guests on, of course, sometimes. Joe Tegmeyer could be a guest. We had some questions for him, but we are preparing this. I want to be a little bit more deliberate on how we do the interviews or discussions. How does this high capex affect the stock price? It's not that high. Tesla doesn't have high capex in comparison to the other guys. Naked puts, if Joe disappears forever, we know what happened. It's true, it's very sad, but I've done it since 2013 and it worked pretty well. I'm not like crazy, but you have to watch them. I actually never, the most devastating problem I ever had was actually short calls on a stock that I didn't fully understand. That was my biggest mistake ever. And on Tesla, I've run short put strategies very, very intensely through all kinds of problems, and it never really went bad. Sure, I had bad days, there's no doubt. I had my learnings, hard lessons. But ultimately, it always made me much more money than just holding stocks on Tesla. I'm great. I mean, the Micron situation, that was a little tough in July, but that wasn't even my full portfolio. I'm grateful that Abraham Lincoln is back on land to get much needed R&R. A Lincoln is beginning to get much needed R&R. What is R? Refuel and refill or something. I'm not afraid of margin calls. I have the margin under control a lot. When I want to fall asleep, I put Herbert podcast on. Oh my God, doing what's right. 98.97% of my portfolio is Tesla. Not sure it's a good idea or not. It's not a bad idea, in my opinion. 20 cyber caps in Clermont, Florida. I love these on the ground intel pieces here from Aries Web. Thanks, Aries Web. 20 cyber caps deployed in Clermont, Florida. Hopefully, the Abraham Lincoln getting a break is a good sign. 80s myself and Tesla. Long-term hold, very good. Just don't get nervous, don't sell. Yeah, Matt, but this is still, that's of course true, but I don't think we'll see a merger tomorrow. Who knows? I think Sean Jurgensen has a good point. I also don't see that happening while we have price discovery and all these unlocks going on. We have so many comments today. I'm always afraid of infinite downside. Yeah, I mean, it's dangerous. This is a dangerous game. You need to be on it. This is a full-time job. You can't make this like a... How much margin leverage do you have on core position or full portfolio? I actually never have real margin leverage, by the way. Or this is very, like, I can't even answer these questions easily because I do mostly option strategies. And so it's not about margin in the conventional sense, because I don't use margin leverage. I'm synthetic leveraged, which means my exposure through options is above 100%. But that, normally I have way, way, way more cash than anything else. But that doesn't mean I'm in cash. It just means if you're selling all these options, you're getting tons of cash, but it's locked up, right? So it's about your margin requirements. So you understand. If you basically buy stocks, if you have $1 million and you buy $2 million of stock, you basically borrowed on margin $1 million and you have to pay interest on it. If you do synthetic leverage with short puts, you're getting $1 million, for example. I mean, if you get $1 million, you have way too much exposure, but you're getting that money in, but you're still margin locked, but you are receiving the interest. So it's a little bit more complicated. Gary Black on X is trying to push Tesla down. Well, he's not going to succeed with that. Until he shows us his substantial short position, the guy is a fraud. I mean, Gary Black, I had my little backs and forth with Gary. He's just old school and whatever. It's fine. Honestly, I think Barry Black is so mean. You're so mean. I disavow. Really want to see Optimus reveal. It's been so long. There will be no reveal. Optimus will be revealed when it's ready to be sold, which is next year, in my opinion. Rest and recovery are not refuel and refill. Good, rest and recovery. Thanks, Leonardo. Optimus reveals the dangerous people steal Tesla's plans. Exactly, that's why we won't have a reveal. We will have a launch. Probably next year. Maybe in December or something. I'm interested in being about 4% synthetic leverage once I learn some more about it. Yeah, I'm working on an academy, by the way. I think I cracked the code now. I cracked the code. We will have the academy soon. I promised you the academy for so long. There will be a Pioneer Academy. It will be a core curriculum that just explains the entire singularity and the more foundational civilizational topics. There will be a Capital Academy where we go through stock valuations and stock models to explain the financial models. And there will be an options section where we do just very straightforward options basics. But I've never seen anyone explain options in an intelligent way, in my opinion. So I will try my best to make it good. What do you think of the flying car event? Well, for all the people who say they would rather drive themselves and don't believe in self-driving cars, ask them if they like driving in traffic, and if they yes, they're being dishonest. Exactly. Flying car event, well, I mean, I think it's unimportant, and I think they will just it will be a gimmick. That's what I think. They could be huge flying cars. By the way, I'm all for flying cars, but I don't think Tesla is the company that will make it happen. Okay, guys, that was a long session. Very good to have everyone here. We have now a bunch of moderators. Very good. LJ says, love the Academy's idea, Joe, but do not burn yourself out. Take your time and enjoy it. But we need to get it out, LJ. I'm like a little psycho about it. Like, I watch this whole stuff very intensely, the AI frontier, Grok, Anthropic, Claude, the Chinese. I mean, we live in crazy times. I tell you guys, we need the Academy. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Street Cred Zero is right. Basically, you don't use your margin debt. I use like, it's too complicated to explain. But effectively, I do straddles and stuff like that, even though I don't like them, because I'm always maxing out my margin, but I never have margin debt. Exactly, Street Cred Zero. Susan Ling says, as a woman, I like the self-parking. That's very funny. Okay, thank you guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And we will continue. And now the trolls have nowhere to hide. We have multiple moderators now. And I have the kill shot gun placed on the trolls. We terminated 2 trolls today. We should have a troll counter. And it's beautiful. So thank you guys so much. And until tomorrow.